Okay, welcome everyone. We are Aztec Adaptive Sports. These are our social medias. If you don't already know, but I'm pretty sure you all already know. Oops, I forgot to change the date. It's not the 8th, it's the 22nd. Okay, so we'll be going over some upcoming events, and then we have some guest speakers, Bea and Shayna, and they'll talk about themselves, and we'll ask them some questions, and then those are some old things on there. Okay, so yep, like I said, today's Bea and Shayna. Para equestrian, is that right? Or dressage? Either one? Both? I don't know. So we had our movie night on October 16th. It went super well. And if you're able to make it, awesome. Thank you for coming. And if you weren't able to make it, I highly recommend that you watch it on Netflix. It was a really good movie. We were all like tearing up and commenting in the chat. It was really fun. Okay, some upcoming events. We have a Chipotle fundraiser on November 2nd. This is the one on campus, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, the one on campus. So if you're in San Diego, just come on by. We will message like a time that we're gonna try to go at so that we can maybe like run into each other.
Yeah, and the entire fundraiser is from 5 to 9 p.m.
Yes. Do they need to have a flyer?
I do believe you have to show your flyer. I'll send it out in the group chat later, and then we'll also send it out in an email, but just like present it to the person at the front, and then some of the proceeds of your meal will be going to our club. And if you can't make it, you can still Venmo us the amount that you would pay for a Chipotle bowl.
Or you can get the Chipotle app. Can they order it?
Like, I don't think so.
Okay. Anyways.
Never mind. Scratch that.
Yeah, scratch that. Okay, moving on. We have a game night with Potsa on November 12th, and we'll either be playing Jackbox or Among Us. We haven't decided, and we got to play around with it and see what works well. But we hope you can make it. Jot that down in your calendar. It will be at 7 p.m. November 12th. And then I'm going to go. Okay, I guess
I think you just have to click.
And then we have a trivia night coming up in December with PATSA, CORE, FPTO, and SNC, which is the nutrition organization, I think. And we'll be having different teams. So we'll be a team, they'll be a team, and we'll be competing against each other with some fun trivia. Okay. Without further ado, we have Bea and Shayna here, and we're gonna play a short video about them first, and then we'll get into the questions. Let me see. Is there supposed to be audio or no?
I'm not sure.
Go away.
Maybe I can.
Oh no.
Well, either way.
Okay. Technical difficulties. Oh yeah, I think it's fine. Okay.
Are you sharing the videos? Share your screen.
Alrighty.
So now we're gonna start asking some questions. I'm gonna try to alternate between Bea and Shayna. So to start off, Bea, how old are you and where are you from originally?
I'm now 21, almost 22, and I'm from France originally, but I lived in San Diego for about 2.5 years, and now I live in West Palm Beach, Wellington area in Florida.
And how did you get involved with the para-athletic adaptive sports movement?
After my accident, I couldn't really go back to my regular sports, so adaptive was my only choice, and it's been uphill from there.
And Shayna, how did you get involved in the adaptive sports movement for training?
Yeah, that's how I got involved, and it's been a really fun ride.
Yeah, it sounds like it. So you said that you've been riding adaptively for since the accident. So how long has that been?
The accident's been almost 5 years, but I've been riding for about 4 years.
And do you do anything with college with your adaptive sports, or are those two separate things?
When I was in college at USD, I represented the school as a para athlete. But now I've taken a break from school to concentrate on my goals currently.
So do you have any, Shayna, do you have any advice for us who are we're all mostly kinesiology majors on how to best work with the adaptive sports field and with training?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important to surround yourself with experts and to know what your strengths are and know what the people around you strengths are. I found it very helpful to have osteopaths and psychologists. Those are probably my two go-tos. Psychologists to keep your mind as a trainer and also your student's mind in a right place and where the communication is easy between both of you, and osteopath for biomechanics and just helping with the body, you know, the muscles and just everything.
There's actually a question in the chat from Naomi. She asked, did Bea know right away after the accident that she wanted to ride again, or was it hard to hop back on with riding with it? Riding seems so different. Sorry.
It's a bit of both. I knew I wanted to get back on the horse, but I was so weak that I was a little scared that I wasn't going to be able to do it on my own. So when I first started, I had about 5 people around me walking to make sure that I would not fall or tip, because I had no core, no arm muscles, nothing. I was just skin and bones on a horse.
Yeah, I noticed in the video that like your progress from right after you got out of the ICU and doing the lat pull down to like where you were when you were starting to use the walker and stuff, it was really amazing to see that. Taylor asks, Bea, what and who were your biggest motivators when you were getting started again?
I had a couple mentors and people that I looked up to. Mentor was Sarah Reinertson. She is a para, what's the 3-day event? The 3 event.
3-day eventing.
Eventing?
Where you run, swim, and ride a bike.
Triathlon?
Yeah,
Triathlete.
Yeah.
She's a para triathlete. And we met about 6 or 7 months after the accident. And just meeting her and talking to her for a couple of hours gave me more perspective on my goals. And then the person that I still look up to now is Amy Purdy. She lost both of her lower legs due to meningitis, sorry. And she's still today battling her injuries. So she's one of the people that I look up to quite a bit.
Awesome. So I don't really know anything about horseback riding. I know that there's like dressage and like equestrian or like events that you can do. Can you tell me a little bit about some of the events that you participate in?
I participate in what they call para dressage.
Mm-hmm.
So it's easier figures, but we have to be really precise on what we're doing.
No, it's not easier.
Well, we're not doing pirouettes and
it's not easier. It's international competition.
Yeah.
It's just you're based on your body's capabilities, so it's all relative, you know.
Yeah. So what's the big difference between dressage and other events?
we stay on the ground.
Oh, the other one, they do like jumps and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I like to say that dressage are intellectuals and jumpers are junkies. So that's the difference. And those are the two Olympic equestrian sports, are dressage and show jumping.
Oh, I see. Okay, so how do you score a dressage para event? How would they score it in the Olympics, in the Paralympics?
They score you individually. I mean, in essence, you're always in dressage, you're always competing against yourself, and there are people in your grade in para dressage or in your level in able-bodied dressage. But basically, you have a test that's already made, and you're scored from 1 to 10, 1 being the worst, 10 being the best, on each movement, each transition, and each gait of the horse. And so you go up to like a really high score would be an 80%. So, I mean, it can go to 100, but that doesn't happen.
I don't think that's ever happened, even in regular able-bodied dressage.
Oh, I see. Awesome. So there's some more questions in the chat. Anna wants to know, would you mind explaining your story of what happened and how you've gotten to where you are today?
Yeah, so I was standing right next to the first bomber at the Brussels airport when the explosions happened. And due to that, I lost both lower legs, and I have a spinal cord injury. And due to all the shrapnel, I'm not able to have an MRI, so we don't actually know where my spinal cord injury is. And then getting to where I am today was honestly my horses, the people around me.
A lot of hard work.
A lot of hard work, a lot of physical therapy, painful physical therapy. Now I have physical therapy. I have a personal trainer, plus the writing. It's a whole. I mean, it really takes a whole family. It takes a village.
Yeah.
To get to where I am today. But yeah, I mean, it's everyday work. Being in a chair is nonstop. My shoulders are my new legs, and I just have to take care of them so that I can preserve my ability to move around and be free like I want.
This is kind of a side note, and it's more of a personal question. Caroline and I are nursing majors, and I was actually interested in ICU and pursuing a career in ICU. Could you tell me a little bit about your stay in the ICU and maybe give like some tips about what was helpful for your recovery and things like that?
Well, my stay in the ICU was long and painful. But
she had burns everywhere.
Yeah, I have second and third degree burns over 35% of my body. So I don't know if you know what a flash burn is. It's that nanosecond of fire, and it goes very quickly, but the burns stay. And so I had most of that from head to stump, pretty much. And honestly, the biggest thing that got me through it, apart from my family and my friends, were my nurses. They were awesome. We had a sign outside that said like only laughing, no crying, no just sadness, just happy thoughts always. And my nurses, when I left the ICU, they actually told us that they learned a lot from us, because nobody let me just we're the women.
Yeah, it's a really special position to be in as a nurse. You really get to be there for your patients in their most vulnerable state. So I'm really excited and look forward to that. Anna was also asking, what has been the biggest thing you've learned throughout your recovery process?
Physical is everything. In the sense that I have to be in a good physical state to be able to move.
Mm-hmm.
And do everything that I do, from just pushing my wheelchair to taking my chair apart from the car and putting it in the car, and then being able to ride a horse. It's all in the muscles and muscle memory. So that was the biggest thing for me, is being able to do what I do. I have to be in a good shape.
Yeah, for me, exercise is like a really big role plays a really big role in my mental health. And so being active every day is something I really value also. Taylor, sorry, I'm backed up. Julia was wondering, what is an example of a workout or recovery and things you do to be able to be in shape for your event?
I do a lot of core work and upper body, shoulder, traps. So I do bench presses, push-ups, sit-ups. I work with the medicine balls, going from side to side to work on my core. I do a lot of the functional training machines. I use those a lot for movement in my shoulders to make sure that they're nice and strong. And I mean, dumbbells, all different types of equipment.
What does a typical heavy training day look like for you?
Like in weight?
Like either like if you do like weight training in the morning and then you ride afterwards or something like that.
Normally it's the other way around. I ride in the morning and then go for my workout at night. Sorry, my dog's under my chair moving around. And between that, between those two big exercises of the day, I'm either resting or going to Costco. So that's that's an exercise on its own. But yeah, I mean, yeah.
All right. Naomi is wondering, for Shayna, do you train other athletes, and how do you adapt training for Bea?
Yeah, I train other athletes. I mean, we moved to Florida recently, so I'm kind of redeveloping my business here. But teaching para dressage versus able-bodied is a little bit different. It's still the same foundation, but the communication has to be very clear, and you have to have a very strong connection, because there's a lot of moments where, you know, I'm unaware of what she can or can't do, or what she can or can't use. So working with para riders is definitely, depending on what their disability is, it's definitely takes a while to get to know them, to train them the best that they can be.
Mm-hmm. So earlier you said that you got into the para athletic community through Bea. Did you guys know each other previously, or were you just introduced later and then?
We were introduced when I moved to San Diego. So I was looking for a trainer just to train me, and then we clicked pretty much right away, and we're here today.
Nice. Yeah, Shayna, I was a swim instructor, just for like, it was nothing serious or anything, but just over the summers I would teach swim lessons, and I had the opportunity to teach some adaptive swim lessons. And it really, like, I'd be telling a kid to like kick, come on, kick, why aren't you kicking? And then I would feel so bad, and they're like, I just can't kick like that. It just doesn't work for me. So it really took a lot of listening and observing to really like adapt those classes to that person. And really it is the same. It's pretty much the same, except you just make small adjustments to whatever your athlete can do. Sorry, I'm just reading some questions in the chat. Taylor said, where in San Diego did you two meet?
Del Mar.
Yeah, Del Mar.
So Shayna, you had a business where you would train dressage athletes, and then that you found out about Shayna, and okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Erica, she used to leave to take an exam.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Okay, so how has your training changed with COVID, or has it changed at all?
We're lucky in the sense that with horses, it's the same every day, because they're an everyday. It's not like a fish where you can just let them do their thing. Horses, they have to be fed, worked, taken care of.
It's a good and a bad thing.
Yeah.
It's good because it didn't change with COVID, but it can be tedious because it's the same stuff every day.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I kind of forget that it's like
Puncturists, and we have chiropractors, and like I said, osteopaths, and I mean it takes a lot of people. A vet, we fly our vet out from California, so it takes a village to keep our horses in top shape.
That's so interesting. Was it like, so do you have like a specific connection with one of your horses that you always ride that horse in your competitions?
I think that, well, it's not you.
Yeah.
So I think that definitely has a connection with Dee Dee the most.
Yeah, I have the biggest connection with Dee Dee, because when I got her, she was out of shape and had to be completely retrained. She was kind of like a rescue.
Mm-hmm. Was she in the video that we saw earlier?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which one?
The white one.
The white one. The one with the like curly, I don't know, I saw one with like a curly mane, kind of. Not curly, but like little twists. Maybe it was like that. Okay, maybe. I don't know much about horses either. I don't think horses can be born with like curly. Okay.
They actually can. Just
Really?
Her hair is braided in those pictures.
Yeah, some of the horses' hairs are braided in the competition.
Yeah.
So I was wondering, did you form that stronger connection with that horse after your accident, or were you already riding that horse before?
I was already riding her before the accident for about 2 years before the accident.
Uh-huh.
So I had already formed a pretty strong connection, but after the accident, our connection just got a lot stronger.
Interesting. Okay. Kelly wants to know, what does a typical week look like for both of you?
I mean, it's different for both of us. I train multiple horses a day, and so I'm like, get up and ride, and now we're managing this new facility that we co-own together. So we're hiring people, and I'm growing my business also, like Shayna Simon Dressage here as well. So I have a sales operation that I do with horses. So it's pretty much all day in the barn, and then working out, and then back to the barn, especially with COVID.
Yeah, not much else to do.
My day is a little bit different. I get up, and I normally ride one horse, if sometimes two, and then go back home, and chill for a little bit, and then depending on if I have my gym session that day, then I'll go. And if I don't, then I'll find something that needs to be done for the barn.
Nice. So I was just looking at those saddles behind you. Is there an adaptive saddle that you use?
Yeah, this one here.
That one's yours.
That's mine.
Uh-huh.
All the
And
sparkles. That's super.
No, I see.
it was expensive, so I made it look pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's got bigger chunks in front and in the back of the leg, so that it really holds my legs in place. And I've had some skin issues on my bottom in the past.
Mhm.
So to make sure that I wouldn't have pressure sores, they actually cut a hole in the wood of the saddle and just filled it with, I think, sheep skin.
Mhm.
Yeah, sheepskin to make it nice and soft. And I mean, it comes a little bit higher in my back so that I don't fall behind. I don't bend behind as much as I normally do. So
Mhm.
it keeps it up straight.
I see. Does it like strap your legs in at all?
It will.
What do you mean it will?
We use little straps and stirrups, and we tie that to the girth, and the girth is what holds the saddle on, so that her legs are strapped in, her lower leg. And then now we're just starting to put thigh straps as well, which will really like press the thighs in. I mean, she's basically like strapped in, you know, so that when, I mean, the horses are really big moving, and you have to be a little bit crazy to get on these big guys. In general, let alone with no legs. So we have to really make it so it's
Safe.
For her, secure, not safe. It's never really that safe. It's more so that she feels secure to do what she needs to do.
Yeah. Awesome. Does anyone have any questions they want to ask?
Bea, are you training right now for the Olympics? And as you get closer to specific competitions, how does your training change?
Yeah, I'm still training for the Paralympics for the upcoming ones. We're letting one of my horses take a little break. And once we get closer to the show season in January, from January to March, I start riding more often during the week. I go from maybe 3 times to 4, 2 or 3 times to 3 to 4. And then it's just consistency.
Just to practice specific tests.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of memorization and a lot of academic aspects to, you know, getting the scores that you need for the competitions.
Is there
I had a question.
advice for young athletes who are coming into the Paralympic and the adaptive athletics field from either of you that you would give?
Yeah, I mean, definitely take advantage of the sports, the adaptive sports that are an option to try and play or do. I mean, I don't know if you've heard of the Challenge Athletes Foundation.
Oh yeah, we work closely with them for some events, and usually we participate more with them without COVID. But
but they do a lot of clinics for surfing. I went skiing with them. I mean, there are a whole bunch of different adaptive sports, and whatever clinic that you can do it, because it's fun and it broadens the amount of sports that we can do.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I think that it's important, like, to get to the Olympics, you have to have a team. And I think that with adaptive or para Olympics, you need to have a really strong team and create that team and just be really dedicated, because it takes a long time to go to the Olympics. No matter what Olympics you go to, if it's able-bodied or not, it's still the best of the best in the world. So
Nice. Julia wants to know, is there any other things you do to prepare besides your training? Maybe like something mental.
Yeah, I do a lot of mental work with my psychologist and psychiatrist. But more so to make sure that my depression doesn't get the best of me. Like right now, for a little while, my depression was a little bit stronger just because I had to be on antibiotics for a couple of weeks, and that kind of cut down the amount of ability that the medication that I was taking. And now, so I just started a new medication, and that's brought my depression down. And I'm a lot more happier. I'm more willing to ride more often, even if it's in the pouring rain, like today.
Raining. It's hot here.
Yeah. No, it's getting a little bit cooler now, but yeah.
Yeah, I definitely, I think both of us do miss the weather
In California.
yeah, Del Mar, San Diego. Yeah, I miss that. I'm in Loxahatchee, Florida.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Julia also added, are there any like rituals that you go through? I know some athletes have like a ritual they do before their event or something like that.
I've learned a lot from my friends and teammates, but this is something I've always done. I always have a playlist that like hypes me up, and most of the time it's very like instrumental, and it brings my adrenaline up, and so while Shayna's riding, for that certain amount of time that she's allowed to ride in the warm-up, I'm listening to my music, but I'm also paying attention to what she's doing, so that if the horse does something out of ordinary, I know what I have to do. So
yeah, I think what's different about dressage is that we're dealing with an animal, and animals have different feelings and react to environments differently, and they feel bad some days. And if you're at the Olympics and they feel bad, you got to know how to make them feel better. So it's not as superstitious as like shooting a free throw at a basketball tournament. It's not like, it's more of you feel what's going on and then you react. And so there's just like a lot of communication between us and the horses the whole time.
Yeah,
really, all the time.
But especially during competition, I do my best to kind of block out all of the noise from other people. Even if it's just like someone competing next door, if like there are people talking like 50 feet away from me and I can hear them, like that kind of gets me out of my zone. So the big reason also for the music is that it blocks all the noise and it makes me concentrate on one thing, which is Shayna and the horse. So
I don't know if this is possible, but could you explain like some of the movements that you do with your horse during a competition?
Go for it.
No.
She's nervous right now.
Yeah. I totally blanked too.
So tell them about like your freestyle, like some of the movement, the yields.
I have to do like yields, which is where I'm moving in a diagonal, but my horse is parallel.
Oh.
So that's one of them. And I have to do it in walk, which is the hardest gait with horses. Even for able-bodied riders, it's really hard. I have circles in walk and trot, different sizes. And
it's like geometry too, like you have to be certain amount of meters, and they're looking for a lot of aspects in it. I mean, when she says it's really difficult in walk, most people think, oh, well, walk's not that difficult. It's slower. Well, yeah, it's slower, but it's also more technical, so you can see more. You can't cover up as much. When you're running around, you can cover up mistakes. And walk, you can cover anything up.
Yeah.
So she has a lot of different movements that she has to do between different letters. And she has 3 judges that flew in most likely from Europe that are staring at every single step she makes and giving their subjective view of it. So it's pretty difficult.
It's when I say like it's easier than able body, it's just that able body have more stuff to do. For us, like Shayna said, it's more technical.
It's all basically done by what your body's capable of doing, you know? So that's why it's relative. I mean, you can say able body's harder, but you take away somebody's legs and feeling, and then you can say that this is really hard, you know? So it's all hard.
Sense. Yeah. And every time like you slow something down, you have to be more particular with it. Like
totally.
It makes total sense that it would
you have
be
less to do. You have more to screw up too.
Yeah,
you know?
And
matters.
Like, yeah, it's like watching something in slow motion. Like you're obviously going to notice way more.
Exactly.
It's going to have to be way more precise. So Akil is our advisor. He has some questions for you. Akil, do you want to ask them, or do you want me to read them from the chat? Okay, I'll read them. Nope.
Yeah, just read them.
Okay. Akil said, what's your favorite food before competition?
Oh, don't ask her that.
It depends on what I'm able to get. But it's most likely fast food. Which makes it crazy because it's really bad for me.
She's an Olympic athlete.
I'm sorry, I love Big Macs, okay?
Whatever gives you the energy, right?
Exactly. But luckily, the McDonald's is not too close to our showgrounds. So I'll eat like pulled pork sliders most of the time.
Okay.
They're a little bit more healthier, just a little bit.
That is process. My sister, she runs, and her races are always in the morning. So she used to only like literally drink honey. She would just eat honey before her event, and she started to pass out at her events. So my mom and her coach were like, you need to start eating at least a banana or something before your event.
Just honey?
Yeah, she would just eat honey. Sierra asks, why did you move to Florida?
The amount of competitions went down a lot in San Diego, and whereas here in Florida, in Wellington, there are shows for 3 months every weekend, and then there are little shows on the sides at different facilities, so there's always something that we can do, whereas in California it was maybe 1 or 2 shows in a span of 3 months. So it was just, I mean, the more practice I get, the better I get. So it was a hard decision to leave San Diego because we both love it so much.
The tacos.
We miss the tacos and TJ and just all of the great food and the environment and the weather.
And
yeah, I mean, it's a great city to live
in. Too much.
But to get to the Olympic athlete that I want to become, the more practice I get, the better. So,
and we're not so far from Europe here, so we have a lot of European athletes flying over to compete, and we're more central. Being on the East Coast, you have people coming from everywhere, and Wellington is the biggest equestrian mecca in the United States.
Yeah,
I mean that, and it's been that way for a long time.
Yeah,
So we had to kind of bite the bullet, and we like it here a lot.
We do.
We complain a lot. We're spoiled because, living in San Diego, riding horses, like,
It's not the same.
yeah, it's, you like have a beach right there, but we have a beach here too, so.
How often do you participate in the competitions and shows?
During the season,
There's a lot of different
Yeah,
competitions that she does. There's a
national.
couple qualifiers
Yeah.
that she has to attend for Tokyo.
Yeah.
So we do kind of as much as we can without overworking the horse.
Yeah.
Alrighty. We are about to hit the end of our time. Does anyone have any questions that they want to ask? I want to know what type of dog you have.
Simba.
He's over here like trying to get limelight right now.
Oh,
it's a big dog.
Come on, buddy. You can make it. Up.
Does he get along with the horses?
He didn't used to. He used to be really afraid of them.
Really?
Now he's totally fine with them. He's a real barred dog now.
Yeah.
Aw, so cute. What kind of dog is it?
Cute.
It's a lab border collie.
Oh, I see it. I see it.
That's so
So
interesting.
he actually has the body of a border collie, the stomach of a lab,
Yeah.
and the hair of a lab.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
the
the face
coloring.
is kind of
coloring
like a
of a-
collie.
Yeah. So cute.
He stared right at it.
Yeah.
He looks so content there on your lap.
Oh yeah, he's a black dog.
A
Yeah.
cuddler.
Oh yeah, it
Aw.
looks like it.
Okay, Akil wants to know, how can we stay in touch with you in your journey? Can we follow you on social media or something like that?
Yes, I have my Instagram page is Beatrice LDL.
Here, I'll type it in the chat. Wait.
Yeah.
Everyone. At Beatrice. Beatrice what?
LDL.
LDL. Is that it?
And then my Facebook page is at Be a Para Athlete, all in one word.
Right. Okay. Thank you guys so much for coming.
Yeah, thank you. It was great hearing your story.
Yeah, it was really cool to see how you adapt the sport and everything like that. Do you guys have anything else you want to add?
No, thanks for
you.
having
Yeah.
us. And we also
Thank
have
you.
a barn page.
Oh yeah.
So we'd love for you guys to follow that as well. Maybe Bea can text it to you or
Yep.
something. Because we're always trying to include different groups and clubs and just broaden the community.
Yeah, if
Alright.
you want to throw
I'll
that in the
write
chat.
in the chat.
Yeah, we'll put it, we'll leave it there in the chat for a little bit. Otherwise, if you don't have anything else to add, anyone else have any questions, we're gonna go ahead and finish up our GBM slides for our members, and you guys are welcome to stay if you'd like, but you wanna...
We have horses to feed.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys are welcome to leave as well.
Okay.
Is that an Instagram?
This is an Instagram page?
Yeah.
We have
Okay.
Instagram and Facebook.
And Facebook, it's
Yeah.
the same.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you guys so much again.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay.
For everyone that's still here, we're just going to finish our last couple slides, but it's the same as the last few weeks. So.
Honestly, I'm not even going to share the screen because it just says the thank you slide.
So we don't have any more slides?
No.
Okay. Well, it looks like we're done. You guys can stick around and ask any questions for us if you'd like, or you're welcome to leave.
Thoughts thoughts or comments on the speakers?
What do you guys think was like the coolest thing that you heard about Beatrice and Shayna today?
I really liked her saddle. I liked how that she explained how she adapted her saddle.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
I don't know. I just thought it was cool to hear about like an equestrial rider. I don't know how to say it.
Equestrian.
An equestrian.
Yeah.
An equestrian, because I've never even like heard from like not like an able-bodied equestrian. So it was cool to like hear like her story and
and
how she does
how they
things.
compete and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of sad to hear that she moved to Florida, but there's like plenty of like prominent people that I know both on the Olympic and Paralympic side that are actually moving out of California because there's not competition here. So
Yeah.
I don't blame her at all. She's trying to compete. So yeah. And then we got Julia. Hold on, Julia. Couldn't imagine being in that accident and being such an amazing athlete. Seems to be working hard for her goals. Absolutely. Yeah, her overall journey. I didn't get to hear all of it, but it sounds, she does sound pretty motivated to get things going.
She was in the Brussels bombing and she lost both her legs below the knees. So, and I've met her, like I rode at the same barn as her before she left, and she is so like strongest woman, one of the strongest people I've met. Like she is just amazing to meet.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. She sounds like it. Yeah, I wish I got here a little bit earlier to hear it. But hey, a lot of amazing people. You guys brought around a lot of amazing people so far in this this organization this semester, and there's a lot of amazing stories out here. And I just hope everybody is just just grabbing something from each conversation, because everybody talking here has something kind of insane to kind of talk about or offer. I mean, really, it's like, oh, this morning, for example, I was on a recruiting call, and I could not believe what this kid was telling me he went through to be here, and I'm just like, I have no words, man. You're on your hustle, and I respect it. And why don't you come over here so we can help you out further? So yeah.
Yeah, it's really amazing to talk to all these athletes, because it's really come to light that being a part of the sport is such an important role, plays such an important role in their recovery from what happened, and keeps them going through everything. It's just a sort of constant, especially if they played it before they got their injury or whatever. So yeah.
Do you guys think there's like any sort of, not like a difference, but in people who are like born with their disability versus like have a traumatic incident like that?
Yeah, difference, like when you say difference in
I don't know, just like of your, obviously like you have to work through like maybe more if you like were once able-bodied and like just feel so like lost or like something was taken from you.
Oh yeah,
like the mentality or the approach that you take to your sport.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah. If you actually take a closer look at all of the winners that are in the Paralympics and all of the people that are kind of on the winning side, I would argue right now that most of them are people that were born with their disability, right? And that's because, this is all that I've known. So for someone like myself, right, it's just like I've always had this. So this is all I know, as opposed to, one of our athletes who was born regular and then all of a sudden had to relearn everything. So technically, even though that person is just about your guys' age, they've only had their disability for a few years, let alone someone who's been here for an entire time. So I think that when you have someone that goes into Paralympics and they're, it was from trauma, something that happened to them, that's a different breed. It's a different breed. It's a different kind of motivation. It's a different kind of trying to really, be part of this world and be disabled. So it kind of helps though when you have other people who were maybe born with a similar disability, or, somebody born without legs, to just be like, here's how I do it and it's going to be okay because I've been doing it. So, kind of need both. Yeah, there's a pretty big difference.